Drive to the freezing extremes of Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, and you can merge onto the longest motorable road system on the planet. The Pan American Highway is a 19,000-mile asphalt network connecting North, Central, and South America to Tierra del Fuego. But at the Panama-Colombia border, this transcontinental achievement abruptly stops. A 60-mile stretch physically severs the continents. This is the Darién Gap. We drill tunnels beneath oceans and carve high-speed rail through solid mountains. Yet decades of modern engineering have completely failed to pave a microscopic sliver of land. The first barrier is pure hostile geography. The region is choked by steep mountains, dense rainforests, and torrential rivers like the Atrato and Chucunaque. In the 1970s, U.S. President Richard Nixon backed a heavily funded initiative to finally conquer the jungle and complete the highway. Convoys of heavy machinery and steel rolled in to tame the landscape and bridge the massive ravines. The machinery immediately sank. When crews tried to drop bridge piers into the vast Atrato swamps, they excavated hundreds of feet straight down and found nothing but soft mud. There was no solid bedrock to anchor the road. Extreme annual rainfall triggered massive flash floods. Entire seasons of excavation and structural progress were washed away overnight. The geography violently rejected the machinery. But the mud was only the first layer of defense. In 1975, the Sierra Club sued the U.S. Department of Transportation, securing a legal injunction that killed the project entirely. This map illustrates a primary argument in that lawsuit, the aftosa virus, or foot and mouth disease. If completed, the road creates a direct land corridor for the disease to travel from South America straight into North American livestock herds, threatening the agricultural economy. There were also human defenders. This region is the ancestral, sovereign homeland of the Emberá, Wominan, and Guna nations. Indigenous leaders fiercely opposed the construction. An accessible road meant inviting illegal logging, land grabbing, and the disruption of a UNESCO-protected biosphere. Paving the gap meant actively importing an existential threat to North American agriculture and steamrolling indigenous sovereignty. Ultimately, the governments of Panama and Colombia looked at the failed project and realized they no longer wanted a connected road. Looking at the schematic of the border, we can see the buffer zone policy in action. The gap acts as a thick, natural shield between the two nations. By keeping the jungle impassable, authorities effectively neutralized the movement of heavy cartel logistics and paramilitary vehicles. The impossible terrain evolved from a frustrating engineering puzzle into a deliberate, state-sanctioned defensive weapon. But removing state infrastructure created a massive geopolitical power vacuum. Illegal armed syndicates, primarily the Clan del Bolsol, quietly absorbed the territory, taxing and controlling the narrow crossing routes. A buffer zone intended to stop human movement is now one of the most densely packed land passages on Earth. By stepping back to maintain a natural wall, world governments handed the border directly to cartels, who converted the jungle into a highly organized, lethal toll road. This chart tracks annual migration through the gap. Notice how the volume sits near 2,400 people in the early 2010s, before violently spiking to over 500,000 travelers in 2023 alone. Those 500,000 people face a brutal 7 to 15-day trek on foot. They navigate venomous snakes, malaria, and flash river swells, and violent predation by the gangs controlling the route. The survivors who finally emerge from the canopy arrive entirely depleted at overrun border checkpoints. The highway remains permanently frozen by three distinct forces: the bottomless mud, legal protections of biology and sovereignty, and a void claimed by cartels. The Darién Gap endures as a multi-layered fortress, standing as a permanent monument to the absolute limits of human ambition.